a week after the Supreme Court upheld the state of Michigan's right not to use race as a determining factor for admission to public college institutions, that we hear the voice of one Donald Sterling, an 80-year-old man who, no doubt, was raised in an era that some of the Supreme Court justices were raised, a time in which not only were you allowed to say the racist rhetoric he spewed to his 38-year-old mistress, but there were laws in place to ensure and maintain the racist construct. You see, Donald Sterling was raised during a period when you could legally discriminate against another human being based solely on their color without impunity. This scathing racist paradigm that his kind, and unfortunately many like him, live by and ascribe to in their hearts and souls, but rarely voice in their public speech, and even rarer in mixed company, was par for the course. So Donald Sterling, the white billionaire, owner of an NBA team and card-carrying member of the One Percenter Club, simply validated and affirmed what a lot of honest Americans already know, that racism is alive and well in this post-racial era of the first black president, who himself has been the brunt of a great many Donald Sterling type bigotry from the moment he was elected to office. Now, you have to understand, what Donald was actually giving to his mistress was a much needed history lesson, as he saw it, as to the way things work in his world. She had apparently gotten confused as to who she was supposed to be in the relationship. A white girl or a white Latina girl, which in Donald's world was acceptable in public and among his peers. You see, side pieces are more than acceptable for men of power, and none of Donald's peers was going to have a problem with that. The deeper issue here surrounding the bigoted revelation of Sterling's sentiments actually has less to do with a rich man owning a professional basketball team comprised mostly of highly paid black men who he supports and takes care of, by the way. It's more about the culture in this society, the powers that be, if you will. Institutional racism that has been in place for years, that still leans towards white and not black, rich and not poor. The culture that Mr. Sterling refers to, those other 29 owners and colleagues in his circles, expect him and others like him to do what they do, but some things you do only in private. The bottom line here, people, is that we don't need to necessarily be overly concerned about the Donald Sterlings of the world. It's those 9 Supreme Court justices that can do more harm collectively than he could ever do. And as the primary elections are quickly approaching, we as Americans need to make sure that we stay engaged in the political process, knowing who our judges are and what their records show them to be. We will never be able to legislate the way people think or feel, for that matter, but you certainly can institute laws by which people must govern their actions and decisions. The upside to all of this foolishness, in my opinion, if there is an upside, is that Donald Sterling should be the official poster child for keeping affirmative action legislation firmly in place. But boy, wouldn't I love to be a fly on the wall and hear what Donald is saying about his black mistress now. Because apparently he has gotten, or forgotten at least, the one drop of blood rule that made it clear who was black and who was white in this country. And this sister side piece got him good. Do you think that maybe Donald caught him a case of what Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Monsieur Candy, called in the movie Django, nigga love? He tells Professor Schultz, quote, "It's like a pool of black tar. Once it catches your ass, you caught." Stay away from the black tar, Mr. Sterling. but you probably already know that.